is this Ya?
Yes.
Is that how I pronounce it?
Yes.
Cool. This is Dan McDonald.
Hi. How are you?
I'm very good. I've been just trying to get back to you because of I read your report yesterday about all the crap you've been through.
Uh-huh.
How are you today?
I'm hanging in there. I'm tired, a little sore, but...
Oh, by the way, you know what? I don't know if that's okay or not, but I've got a video going. Sorry, I forgot to tell you.
That's fine.
Okay, cool. Because some of the motivation to call people like you is that you've got such an interesting story, and it's the stories like yours and situations like yours that allow me to teach about the real things that are going on in our society that are not helping people at all. So, why don't we review quickly for the viewers here just some of the more basic issues that you've been going through.
It's basically this extreme fatigue, and just I've noticed like my skin is dry, my hair is dry and brittle, and the joint pain is like a big thing because it affects me getting around and doing what I need to do. And I'm not tired. Like, I'm not tired as in I can't, walk for long periods of time, but it's like I can feel my joints hurting, and I can feel my muscles just like on fire. And it's not like, I'm tired. It's just my body just, it just feels out of whack.
How old are you now?
I'm 30. I'm going on 32 in a couple weeks.
And how were you in your 20s? Did you have health?
I was fine in my 20s.
I mean,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Did you have good health, or were you just kind of like not a noticeable amount of symptoms?
No, I've had good health. Of course, I told you that, I'm working on getting my weight down, but I've always been very active, throughout my whole life. So it's not it wasn't a big thing for me. I would go to the gym and stuff like that. I've just noticed within the past maybe 2 years that, something just isn't right, and it's preventing me from getting my weight down and, working on that. So I want to get to that and figure out how I can, get my body right so that it'll allow me to do the work that I need to do.
Okay, so what's your current, can I ask you what your weight is?
I'm 290 right now. Okay,
so that's substantially overweight. Now, did you have that problem before the trip to Africa, you said?
No, I actually had lost a lot. I lost about 80 pounds prior to going to Ghana, and basically for me, the weight comes off once I become active. It's when I'm, stagnant and I'm not doing as much. The weight, well, of course, it comes on. And, even though my weight is up there, I've always been an active person. But I've noticed that when I came back, I even went to the gym, and I had a trainer, and she couldn't even understand why, my weight wasn't going down, because she had me on a program. I was coming in, I was doing the work, I was eating properly, but it wouldn't come off.
Properly in the trainer bodybuilding sense properly?
I'm sorry?
Like eating properly in the sense of for the fitness trainers of today's modern world, will they make you eat a lot of protein?
No, that's what I should have been doing, but I'm a vegetarian, but I also eat fish, and I try to keep to, eating just fruit and vegetables, but I don't think that I eat enough. I don't think I eat enough during the day, which I'm also trying to work on, but yeah, so I wasn't eating like crazy, like eating a lot of fats and stuff like that. So she couldn't understand why I wasn't losing hardly anything. And this is, you know, in the past, this has worked for me. As soon as I'm active and I get my diet on track, the weight comes off, and it was just stagnant.
Okay, well that's what it is. Yeah, stagnant issues. Your body is probably coagulated. You know, you are just backed up. Because what is health food in this world would like literally kill me. You know, what people consider health food is really like clogging food. The cooked, processed food and the meats and the animal products and things like that, they're very congesting to the human body. What that does generally is it clogs up the kidneys, and then that slows down adrenal function. And also it clogs up the thyroid, and then that blows out your metabolism. So the main thing is to get unclogged. But one of the biggest things that I noticed about your case history, was that a lot of this really went downhill after a flu vaccine, if I'm not mistaken.
It was I had anti-malaria medication, and then I also had a yellow fever shot that they gave me.
Oh, so they gave you 2 shots in one day?
No, I had there was several shots that they wanted to give me. I was leery about it in the first place, which I should have just stuck to that. But all I took was the yellow fever, which they said was mandatory, which I later found out, you know, is not. But that's the one that I took. But then I also received anti-malaria medication to take before I left.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you got 1 shot?
Yes.
And 1 anti-malarial medication. It only takes 1 shot. And this is what this is what I like to share with the viewers, is that, you know, as a healthcare professional, practitioner, detoxification specialist, I've talked to many people, and then we'll be going through the case history, and then they say da 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 da, and then I got a flu shot, and then I got a vaccine, and then I got this vaccine, and it all went downhill from there. Okay,
right.
Now people need to realize that these vaccines and stuff, the numbers sound good because they fudged them up, but they're very, 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 very toxic and life-destroying. And now they can convince you, and there's a lot of people out there that have bought into this, that we need vaccines and they've done so great and all that, but if you look into it for real and you want to get to the truth of it, you'll realize that there's a real plan going on here, and it is to sterilize you and turn you into a vegetable so that you cannot function and that you are sick. And unfortunately, you fell into that trap as well. I was just a little baby when I had my last vaccines, and as an adult, thank God I don't go in and get my yearly flu shot, because each time that we do that, we bombard our body with toxins. And you know, getting shot up with drugs and vaccines and getting organs and glands cut out of you, it just doesn't line up with God, and it just doesn't line up with Mother Nature. So the science of today is killing us, and I think that I noticed when I was reading your story that stuck out more than anything else. So really what you've got is to work on now some heavy metal toxicity, removing that. So I don't know what you're doing, but if you're not doing as close to 100% raw right now, you're not on the right track.
Okay.
You need to start thinking that way. At 300 pounds, you should already be thinking that way. And anyone who's overweight and not well should be thinking fruits and leafy green plant foods. The fruits are going to energize and move the lymph, and the fruit acids are going to start to dissolve the heavy accumulations and energize the cells with their simple, easily absorbable sugars that do not require insulin from the pancreas. And number 2, in your case as well, you're going to want to consume lots and lots of leafy green plants. And extremely beneficial is in the form of juices as a therapy, because although in nature, yes, we would chew the green plants with our teeth, but since we have so much going against us with these invasive, insane therapies, little kids, people wonder what causes sudden infant death syndrome. Well, let me see. My little nephew gets his vaccines, and the next day he wakes up dead. Okay? I mean, no one in my family got it. I got it. And I never said anything to my sister. I hope she doesn't see this video. But he just died. I mean, because that's just, the babies just die. Sudden infant death syndrome. And if a little baby can't handle it, we as full-grown adults, when we go in to get our shots, we've got some immune system work. But you can't repeatedly... What that did was it pushed you over the edge. And what happens is we're riding right on the edge. But when we cram ourselves full of some type of major influx of toxemia, our body just says, screw it. Now, you went downhill from there, right?
Right.
So it's you know, I mean, it's like, it's so obvious that that's how it is, but people should study these vaccines. But for now, you're going to need to do some real detoxification, which you should have been doing anyways, but this is a gift now to you, because the body and the cells in the body, when stress is removed, as much stress as possible, as much relaxation is taken, because the body can heal at a much more rapid rate during relaxation and resting periods. And getting on a diet that's going to help chelate some of those heavy metals, and that's going to be like wheatgrass, chlorella, and the cilantro, parsley, those types of green plants, and the antioxidants in fruits as well. And one thing that you're really going to want to consider here in the long run, if you really are serious about getting well, and that you're going to have to study the science of and the art of water fasting. And everyone should do that, because even one day a week of water fasting can improve the quality, one day, excuse me, a week can improve the quality of your life. Because when you take a break from eating, your glands and organs can finally clean themselves out. Okay. And all your internal organs, which are not working right now because the weight is stuck, so that tells me you've probably got adrenal weakness, and you've probably got thyroid weakness, hypothyroid. Now, I'm guessing that you're African American. Am I wrong?
Yes.
You are African American.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that tells me one thing. You should definitely, without a doubt, be a vegetarian. Now, I know people, they get all crazy about it, but I've been studying with African American master healers that understand that there are subtle differences in our genetic expression. The genes are the same, yes, but the expression due to the conditions. That's why some people have darker skin and some people have light skin. So it's the expression of those conditions that makes me suggest that all African Americans, and all humans for that matter, be at least vegetarian. Vegan is really good. But particularly in the case of detoxification and healing, what you need right now, have you done much detoxing in the past?
Yeah, I've juiced. I've done juicing cleanses, and I think I did one that was 14 days, and actually I felt a little better after that. But the fatigue came back, and I think I wanted to continue that. And then also, I think my diet, due to my financial issues right now, have taken a toll, which I really,
You spend all your money. You spend all your money on doctors.
I mean, well, basically. I mean, it was just that really, when I think about it, it just, it angers me, because the little money that I did have, they were using it for these tests, I didn't have insurance, they wouldn't diagnose me so that they could help me. They knew that there was something wrong with, my thyroid and that there was an issue, but they wouldn't tell me anything. They just threw drugs at me, which I didn't take, and yeah.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what, I'm going to save a bunch of people money. Their tests, I mean, how do you feel? Do you feel perfectly healthy? Because if you don't, then just do what Dan the Man tells you and go down that road of perfect health, which is clean out the cells in your body, clean out the lymphatic system, make sure that you're eating food that builds pure blood, getting enough oxygen, sunlight, relaxation, and quit putting in these foreign, altered, strange foods that do not belong in your organism. Okay, and so basically it comes back to fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds should be your food, and so that you've got the living life force energy, and then you want to make sure you're not eating too much, and if you're not well, then you need to go down the road of detoxification, because they're just going to take all your money, they're not going to be able to help you, and they're going to leave your ass high and dry, totally broke, and worse than when you started. And now you don't even have the money that you could have spent, all the money that you spent on tests, on fruits and vegetables and herbs to detoxify your body. So now your whole life, until you're well, is really practicing the art of health on yourself. And that's going to be, in this case, detox. And in 2 or 3 years after you've done some water fasting, juice fasting, and raw food diet, and mastered the art of relaxation and communion with your deepest self through meditation or relaxation exercises or whatever you want to call it, then you can begin to work on fine-tuning and mastering health if you want to go down that road. Right now you just want to get your life back. Right. That's going to be a diet, a mucusless healing diet of the freshest fruits you can get and the freshest herbal tonics that you can drink through the juicing, and then lots of rest. And yoga is helpful as well to stretch out the ligaments for the joints, to get blood and water in the joints. Sometimes the joints are simply dehydrated because of the diet. The body and the cells cannot absorb water. But if you drink the juices and you eat the fruits, eventually that will remedy itself. One of the greatest things you can do is the juice fasting right now, while you're in the middle of studying the art of water fasting and getting as much material on that as you can. Reading Herbert Shelton's books. You can reference this video later, by the way, but Herbert Shelton, and you also want to read books by Arnold Ehret, Paul Bragg, and Stephen Herod Buhner. Okay, look those guys up. Those are some of the main guys. And Fasting Can Save Your Life by Herbert Shelton is a great book which will teach you. It's like everything. Now, shorter, it depends on who you are, but starting out with really short ones like 24 to 36 hours and seeing, oh, I can do that. And you'll see what a break it gives your body and how much better you feel the next day. But then, of course, you eat a whole bunch of food and then you don't feel so good. So what you're learning how to do is water fast and give your body a break, and then eat lightly throughout the week, detoxifying type foods, and then you learn how to go 2 days on water. And then you say, oh, okay, then you start to get it, and then you can go for like a 7 or 10 day fast on your own. If you go any more than that, you want to turn yourself in. And while these heavy metals and stuff are coming out, the pills you took, and all the heavy metals, it's going to be some discomfort. But you know what? If you have faith, on the other side of the healing reactions or healing events, you will find that you will step up into a level of health. As that sediment is washed out of your kidneys and your lymph starts to flow again, which will allow the thyroid to start functioning again, which will allow that during those periods that you actually get to go to the gym and work out and build muscle and blood flow and oxygenate the tissues while hydrating them and energizing them with the raw food diet, that your body will slowly but surely regenerate itself, because it really wants to, but we don't live in a way that allows that to happen. because we don't understand the art of detoxification with raw foods and water fasting. So is what I'm saying making sense?
Yeah, it's making sense.
Okay, and I think if you did 14 days before, you can do 21 days. And at 21 days, you're going to see even a more profound shift. Some of the better ones are just, for the beginners, just juice fasting. And if you can't do juice fasting, then what you do is you do a couple of juices during the day and a non-fat salad at night, or a non-fat fruit meal. And then you work your way up to being able to actually go to bed on juice. Then you can work your way up to like a week on juice, then 14. Then when you can do 21 days on juice, you're going to see some huge movements. But then you want to make sure you don't go back and start stuffing your face full of weird food like rices and breads and meats. You want to stay on the raw food and stay on the juices for as long as you can, because it takes a little bit longer. In the juicing, you only get into a partial ketosis. On the water fasting, after the third day, you get into the full spilling and the dumping of toxemia. So it's really going to be the fruits and the juice fasting and the water fasting that's going to get you where you want to go, and staying on a super clean raw food diet in between. And it could take you upwards of 2 to 3 years if you do this at a moderate average level. If you take this to levels of mastery, you can completely transform your life in 1 year. You know what I'm saying? But most people can't do that because they don't have the information or the knowledge. So you can plan on about 2 to 3 years for the average person in a situation like this. So, yeah, what are your questions?
Well, that was one of my questions. I was interested in doing a detoxification, and I was just wondering, like, what you would consider an appropriate duration for detoxing.
I mean, you really until your health returns, but I think for me, I would say go to the end of your life. In other words, in this world, you have to be very conscious, because they are stuffing needles into our arms, putting crap in the air. They're putting crap in our food. There are documentations, okay, of we are putting this crap in their food to make them sterile and stupid, okay? So you can't procreate and your brain don't work, okay? And they are doing this, and they've been doing it for a long time. And that is why everyone is they can't procreate, their mind is all messed up, and people are like asleep and they don't even know it. So they're trying to put us to sleep and make us sterile, okay? If you don't have to believe me, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. All I'm saying is I'm not going out like that. I'm going to live off nature. I'm going to detoxify my body. So the proper duration is the rest of your life, really. But that's on a raw food diet. You can build up eventually once you're clean, for sure, but you have to be smart and avoid all the genetically modified, pesticide, irradiated, fumigated, needles in your arms, drugs, surgeries, potions, and concoctions, and all kinds of toxic soaps and hairsprays and all that makeup crap. That's just going to soak right into your skin, go into your blood, get trapped interstitially, and slow down the function of your cells and the clarity of your mind. So it's a detoxification lifestyle from here on out for those of us that want to live a high quality life, because of the nature of the conditions of the society that we're living in. They're trying to kill us. That's what I'm trying to tell you that. And if you ain't fighting for your life every day and really doing everything that you can, you're missing out, okay? You're eating all their weird crap and you're falling asleep slowly but surely, because there's chemicals in there that makes that happen. So organic, raw, vegan is what they call it these days. I call it the fruit and vegetable diet, or I just call it the diet of nature, that if you look out at nature, you're not going to be cooking anything, you're not going to be mixing a bunch of stuff up together. It's going to be simple, it's going to be clean, and you're going to eat until you're, satisfied, and that's it. It's not going to be like an addiction like most of us have. So if I were you, I would start with some long-term juice feasting and master that.
Okay.
Because that is going to help you. It's not the fastest way to do it, but it is one of the safest and easiest. So you're cleansing your body out but you're also able to function in your day-to-day life. Then I really want you to consider the water fasting as being that which is going to dig deeper into the nervous system and get those deeply buried heavy metals and toxicity out of the cells in your body.
Okay.
So take 2 or 3 years and live the detoxification lifestyle. And if you really do it, in 2 or 3 years you'll be a completely different person. You'll be by then incredibly prepared to take the next step, which is really just spiritual self-mastery through the process of awakening. And all the detoxification is really a prerequisite to being able to receive the information from the divine so that you can go further into this path of awakening so that you can be an awakened human. And health just so happens to be a byproduct of the awakening, because it's a lot harder for the God realization when you're sick. So that's why we're trying to get well as a prerequisite. And this detoxification, because I don't know what you've been through, but at your age, if you haven't been conscious of what you've been doing, then I know that all this weird stuff has gotten slipped into you, and then the vaccine just breaks the camel's back,
Right.
and you're scrambling in the dark. So are there any other questions?
Yeah, as far as, I was wondering about supplements. Do you recommend getting vitamins and nutrients just through the fruits and vegetables instead of taking, like an over-the-counter supplement?
Supplements are not as bioly available as most people think. It's kind of expensive pee a lot of times. There's some cool green powders and stuff if you're trying to build up, and I'm not totally against the supplements, but the thing is if you can find, and you live in New York, right?
Right.
So you can find some good organically grown produce, and that's why I love to juice. Like I had a lemon ginger blast. I got more minerals and vitamins in like 2 jars of juice than most people get in a month, because I had dandelion greens, arugula, fennel, ginger, lemon, apple, and so I get all those vitamins and minerals easily absorbed. It's already digested. It just goes straight in. So really it's like a good combination, especially when you're juicing. You're really getting tons of vitamins and minerals, and you want to have when you're juicing, you want to have a nice balanced variety when you're juicing and you're active. Also when you're eating and active, you want a nice variety of foods so that you're making sure that you're covering all your bases. But the supplements and stuff, there are certain cases, like if I had more time to spend with you and I could look at your skin and your eyes and stuff, but you'll find that it's the stress that inhibits the utilization of nutrients. It's not that there's tons of macronutrients. There's never a shortage of fat. There's never a shortage of protein. Sometimes there's a shortage of carbohydrates, which people make up with white sugar and bread. But if you're eating enough fruit, you don't need the white sugar and you don't need the bread, and you won't have it. So if you're having sugar problems or you're hungry and you eat candy bars and stuff, try eating more fruit, and I guarantee you that problem will go away. But as far as the supplements go, you're going to find that you're going to hydrate, alkalize, and deliver nutrients better with the juicing and a relaxed environment. You've got to remove the buildup in your body. The heavy metals dry out your hair and your skin. Okay? And as soon as you start detoxifying those and chelating those out of there with carrot, apple, beet juice, cucumber, celery, cilantro, I know it's winter. So what you got to do right now is just get through the winter. Keep on studying the raw food stuff. Okay? Keep on studying the fasting. Learn everything you can about detox. The master cleanse is a cool thing to learn about. And get an understanding and find out which of these tools work for you. Okay? Mono fruit diets work really well for me. I can eat watermelon for days on end, and just sort of get a break from my body, flush things out, rest, soften up my tissues, and eliminate stress that way. Okay, but everyone has their own little way. But but the understanding of what's going on in your body as the body goes into ketosis and breaks itself down, and in the fat, as the fat is burning for energy, then the toxins that are trapped in that fat get broken loose from the cells, from the fat cells, and are then able to be transported. But hopefully your kidneys and your liver are working good. So this is a long-term process. At best, a superhuman that had more discipline than anyone you've ever known can be completely sick with cancer, and in 6 months, with raw foods and water fasting, can be completely transformed, regenerated human being. That's best case scenario. Most people are going to take 2 to 3 years to do this, to build up and muster up the courage and the information, and they need to have time for trial and error. Okay, that doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like, I went raw, and then you find out I was going to get rid of my cancer with raw foods, and then you find out, oh, well, I ate, avocados, cashews, coconuts, and, Thai wraps with peanut sauce. And so, 87% of their diet was nuts and fat, and they wonder why their lymphatic system never moved. So people make mistakes. That's why I just say, your focus on health, as far as the diet goes, should be as much fresh fruits and vegetables as you want, clean and in simple combinations. Like, I just had a lemon ginger blast and then 3 apples. That was my breakfast, and that's perfect. Like, apples, watermelons. Like, apples are in season. If you really want to get moving on this, apple, and then just apple and whatever green you can find that's organic. Kale would be good this time of year, but apple, kale, lemon. That's a detoxification drink. Drink a jar of that, energize, flush, cleanse, and then keep on with that. Use apples this time of year. They're a great fruit to start moving the lymph and to start pulling crap out of your body and helping to increase circulation and whatnot, clean out your blood veins and everything. Okay?
Okay.
So, I think you've heard me say a lot of this stuff before. I hope that this call cleared some things up for you.
Right. Well, I do watch your videos, and I was told that the clear way to figure out, if you need to detox is your skin is like one of the prime things that will tell you when you need to detox, because it starts to change, and it feels different, it looks different, and also your digestive system will start to change, and there's constipation, there's bloating, and all that. And so I was just wondering what form of detox that I needed to do and for how long. And yeah, so
I would, what I do? Let's make a quick plan for you. I would say start out on a juice fast and eat a nice, first of all, take about a week and eat a non-fat fruit and vegetable diet, like salads with tomatoes, okay? But no avocado,
Okay.
And just get a no-fat diet for a week. All the fruit that you want, whole is best, whole fruit, and then vegetable salads and as much juice as you want to start getting your chops up for the juicing. Take about a week to do that. Then hit the 21-day juice diet. Okay?
Okay.
And then go back on the raw foods and clean. Again, super clean raw foods. Like, if you want to bring in a little bit of fat after the juice feast, that's okay, but really you're not going to need it for a while, because you've got plenty of fat that your body will recycle and reuse, and it'll get rid of what it can't use, and it will reuse the fat that it can use, okay?
Okay.
So, you can't be on a no-fat diet forever, but you can go quite a bit longer than most people would imagine, okay? And then, so, I would do the week on vegetables, 21-day juice fast, and then I'd go on raw foods for, 3 weeks or a couple of months, and then do another 21-day juice fast. And here's what I want you to remember. If you can do this, and I do believe that you can, but if you can go 36 hours once a week with just water, you don't tell anybody, you pick a day. I do mine every Monday. You pick a day. I do mine on Monday because then there's no weekend stuff, and you can slip through on a Monday. No one knows you're not eating. You can usually get through the day, no problem, easily. And about for 36 hours, you don't take anything but water. And then that gives the body a break, every organ and gland a break. Excuse me. And while you're eating, you want to do the 36-hour-a-week water fast. It is a great habit that will add life to your years and years to your life. And if you can do that during the juice feasting, it's also be very beneficial, but not absolutely imperative while you're juice feasting because you'll already be in a partial ketosis. But the more water fasting you can do right now, getting into the habit of giving the body those breaks, the better off you're going to be. Okay. And then keep on doing that cycle. 21 days on juice, and then a month or two on food, a month or 2 or 3 on clean raw food, and then do another 21-day liquid diet, and then another month or 2 or 3 on raw foods. And when you're ready again and you feel it intuitively, okay, let's hit the juicing again. And if you do, 4 of those, 21 days within the next year, you should see a vast improvement in the quality of your health if you're eating organic, low-fat foods, because your thyroid and your adrenals, they're going to have to come back online in order for you to see some real big difference. And some people are like, I've been doing this juicing, I'm not losing any weight. That's because the thyroid is so clogged up. But sooner or later, eventually the thyroid is going to bust loose, and you're going to have a major dumping, and your thyroid is going to go, yes, awesome, it's finally able to get some oxygen and some sugars, and it's finally starting to be able to do its function, okay? Okay. And then everything else can just take off, but it has to be clean, highly vibrational foods, and you have to have patience with the process because the body knows best. Our job is to learn how to listen to our inner guidance system and apply the ancient knowledge, which is ancient knowledge which got suppressed, especially in the last 100 years because of the Rockefellers, and now we're all sick, we're all fat, and we're all dying slowly. Now I'm just generalizing here, but because a lot of you are health nuts and you say, I don't see that, but if you see what I see every day, you know. And people have no clue about what health is. Isn't grass-fed meat good for my cancer? Whoa, that's what health is. Organic Oreo cookies, that's health. Okay, organic like yogurt and stuff. And it's like, oh lordy, we've got a long way to go here. But we're going to do this, and we're going to have to, the ones of us that want to survive, we're going to go back to nature, and we're going to relax. We're going to eliminate superfluous people and circumstances out of our lives. We're going to quit our crappy job and get one that we like and create one up. We're going to have faith. We're going to eat the diet of nature. We're going to spend time outside in the sun, relaxing. We're going to go outside in the fresh air and get moderate physical activity daily or 4 to 5 days a week at least. And we're going to learn how to love ourselves, because that's what's going to, in the end, that's what it's going to take. You're going to have to love this life and love this process. So health and detox as a hobby, believe me, is a lot of fun, which for me ended up now as a spiritual path. And I'm going to go all the way with divine connection and communion with God through this path. And anyone can learn from me about what I'm talking about, because I live in a state of very high health, and now I'm going for like every single light bulb in my body turned on. So all my glands functioning, everything working in unison so that I can commune with life more perfectly. So get excited about the path of healing, health, and regeneration. Can you dig it?
I can dig it.
Right on. So Are you ready? Are you stoked?
I am. I'm really, like, I understand that this is a process, and, you know, that's what I'm looking forward to. I just want a transformation to change. And so knowing that detoxing is what I need to do, which is what I thought, it's going to be hard, but, you know, unless I try it, you know, I'm responsible for my current condition unless, you know, I try and do something about it. So
that's right. We are responsible. The choices that we've made have led us to where we are. The choices that we make will take us where we want to go. So try to change the message in your mind. I know, I mean, we were all strung out, man. It's taken me years to get unstrung out from like mental conditioning around food and stuff. But when you get clean, you literally, like, on your fasting days, instead of craving like cheeseburgers and stuff, you actually crave like watermelons and fruit. But it's going to take some time. So get into the hobby. Try not to say this is going to be hard. Try to say this is going to be fun. Challenging? Maybe, but challenges are fun. You are taking the old person and you're saying goodbye, and you're letting the old ways and the old ignorance and the old mistakes die away. Like the leaves on the tree, they fall. Let all those old ways and old patterns and old ways of thinking and seeing life fall down to the ground and become